What? It's mad because like I always feel like when it comes to the UK podcast scene, this is one of the pioneers that don't always get the light shined on him because he's
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Behind the scenes kind of brother. You know what I mean? Like, when I go on other podcasts, I say that your studio is like the mecca.
Yeah, it's like the hub. Yeah, it's like the main hub.
It was the beginning, bro.
It was kind of the beginning. Everyone at some point that's doing something with a podcast
they had a look,
was here at some point.
Or even the ones that all the new podcast studios, they had a look and it's like, all right, cool, we got to get that, and that. And then
you know what I'm saying? Literally.
Copy it.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Man catted the thing.
Yeah, trust me.
It's good, man.
Man kickstarted the whole wave.
Yeah.
You get me?
And now everyone's chatting. Bro.
Everyone, man. Now, do you regret it? You know what I'm saying? They're telling people to take their bikes away. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone's got a bike now, bro. What do you say? What? Because of Savage?
Yeah, my bad.
You know, I remember the days as well when Chucky used to do his podcast and man only ever heard your voice.
Yeah,
you never seen man's
literally.
face, bro. You get me?
That's like a soft intro.
So
let's just speak about first. Savage Dad in the building. Come on, family tree. Appreciate it, bro. Came on the podcast 2 years ago, so go watch that one. That's the interview. Today is just a reasoning. You get me? So we'll get straight into that then, because that's where we're at. I don't want to throw it off. The podcast mecca. You're like the Harlem of the podcast, bro. Uptown.
The blueprint.
But it just happened. It just happened. Like,
how did it just happen, though?
But it was Chucky's fault.
I feel like it was. Yeah. I thought he was going to blame Poet.
Yeah, one of them, bro. Chucky phoned and said he wants to do a podcast. And I think I might have even said, what's our podcast?
Yeah, okay, big him up, man. Early doors.
Big up, Chuck.
And he said, just me chatting. I was like, just me chatting to someone else. And I was like, what? And people are going to listen to it. Yeah. I was like, oh, like a radio.
Everyone does that.
That's exactly the first thing I said.
It's a radio show, essentially.
Yeah.
But without the radio station. And it just kind of kicked off from there. At first, it was once every 2 weeks. But that was like the first podcast, really.
Yeah.
And then it started like gaining a bit of traction, and then it started flying. And then Free Shots are involved now, and then Free Shots, obviously they had like big instas and social media, so they had almost like a springboard from the jump to just go boom. They took it almost to a next level, like headline,
the shows and that. They was the first to do that.
What the podcast live show kind of thing,
like a Royal Albert Hall. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Artists will flipping rip their arm off just to perform there. And they're just sending out the whole
just chatting.
That's it.
No, but bare girls will go there. Like, I'd see on Instagram and all these social platforms, just bare things going to the Free Shots live.
That's it.
I hosted
that was their
them
market.
still.
Yeah,
I hosted.
I was like, this guy's always working,
Which
bro.
one? Like the early ones?
Bristol. It was a smaller venue. Yeah. Mostly Bristol. I think Birmingham as well.
Yeah, that little,
or Leicester, something like that.
That podcast boom was crazy. We're still in it, but I'm talking like that initial jump. It was crazy because it's like everyone was just catting for
new
podcasts,
episodes,
and it was like you could get away with saying a bit more. A few years ago.
It was a bit more free.
100%.
Definitely free.
Bro,
I've already sworn this episode. Like that's getting like I made a mental note of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't even swear.
Yeah, it's got techie.
I remember.
That's because of YouTube, though.
Nah, but do you know how deep it is? I used to listen to the Halfcast. What was it called? It's called Halfcast.
It was called Halfcast.
It was called Halfcast, and now it's called what again?
HC.
Yeah, I listened to the Halfcast.
Yeah, also I can't even call it. I can't even call it his
I
name.
listened to the Halfcast podcast on SoundCloud. It used to be on. I used to listen to it.
That's what I was gonna say. That's how it started.
Going back, yeah, man.
Because Chucky started before mine, and then I started, and then I stopped later on.
Yeah.
But I started in my yard with you because I remember you was engineering my music.
Yeah.
And then I was messaging you about what's this mic saying? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I bought some home equipment. Yeah. And then we done one in my mum's yard.
A little pilot one.
And then we done our first one in the Acton studio of SAS in 2016.
Yeah.
And Chucky was in 2015, innit?
Yeah.
Was it 2015?
Yeah, 2015.
So he was early. But before that,
first.
but before that, do you know why I rate him as well? Because I always said this on pods, right? I had this thing called This Is Me TV, where Jamal Edwards was like my cameraman, and he told me, "I'll buy this camera from Argos." Yeah. So I was going from block to block, just interviewing rappers on their block, like PDC, SMS. Yeah. And then when that was like a Cocaine City Smack DVD thing. But Chucky before that had the Freeze FM radio show.
Yeah.
And he was doing interviews, which is where like the R&B thing stems from, because he was a DJ.
Yeah.
And he used to have people call in and interview and that.
Yeah, he's a natural talker.
It's content creating though. Like in the UK, Poet, Chucky, myself, I'm putting myself in there. fuck it. And then,
I
know I done my thing.
Put your hat
even on a smaller scale. And then free shot. I remember when free shot started. They started a touch after.
Yeah.
But they got bigger quicker.
They had their first couple episodes in that acting studio.
After mine, I remember it.
But then it just started to fly.
Yeah.
I think it was because that was the one where it kind of was the Venus versus Mars. Like
sex cells.
we just
I
was going bonkers on there as well. Like I think they even had to remove the first 30 episodes.
He's like just speaking that wild shit, yeah.
Sick on there, you know.
So you was in the background.
I just screaming out.
He's talking crunk.
I can imagine the world. Listen, we can't even run this. It's crazy.
It's nasty, bro.
Now I was moving crazy.
Yeah. Young though, innit? 10 years ago or something.
Yeah,
it's about 10
years. But
time flies.
Hated me, bro.
It's crazy.
Was you weren't showing face?
Yeah, he was just chatting.
No.
He was just a voice.
Yeah, I remember
even on HC when it started going to visuals, I kept my face off it.
Yeah.
So there would even be a smiley face on it. But that was just for other things that like just gonna have some issues. From the
I said the stories are too wild for the commercial world, bro.
So that was what I didn't find, bro. I don't want to be public facing. I've somehow ended up public facing.
What was that like, the transition though, from being like someone that don't want to be on camera that runs a studio into like I'm in the game now? Like what's the transition? Because you became a business. I woke up one day like that. I woke up and like as in like I woke up and there was bare followers. It's like on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Like thousands.
Swear, just
from hearing you.
No, yeah, but they didn't know who I was for a long time.
So they wanted to see. What
they thought some people thought I was white. Some people thought I was ginger. They didn't know what I was. It was only whispers. Like no one.
Some
knew.
hooligan.
Yeah, rule.
No one knew. They just knew the voice.
That's it.
It was like the Stig.
That's the Stig, yeah.
And I think it was. It might have been Filthy that did it. And I was just like, I went on it,
Filthy,
but I said, don't put my name as Savage Dan.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that just
exposes everything.
Now they know. Just
they can connect all the dots off of that.
They put my name as Savage Dan.
Yeah.
And they like.
Someone say your name on there was Savage Dan. So.
No, but on the first episode.
Oh yeah.
They could have said George.
Yeah.
They could have put the name under me as
you had to over your face though.
No
one knew your
that
face
was my face, but they
no one knew it. Yeah, no one knew it.
And there
No one
were
knew the
different
connection.
audiences to a certain degree as well. Like, it was just a football.
Because that was a football. Yeah, it was football.
So I could have been anyone on that show. They might have thought, hold on, that voice, I recognise that voice, but
you'd have to
they would have to still do the Batman thing and figure out who's Bruce Wayne. But I just woke up.
Gadget and that.
They had me, man.
How'd you not come together for Filthy though?
How?
Yeah.
Well, I just got a phone call. I'm a Chelsea fan and a nutcase one, innit? I was a raging Chelsea fan. Now I'm not so sure. Now I'm not so sure.
Vince McMahon backwards.